Hey, what's up? John Vlog here for another very exciting tutorial, and today I'll be explaining how to do color grading in post-production. Now, of course, I use the Adobe Creative Cloud when color grading, so I'll be showing you how to color grade through Premiere and in a new program. Well, not really new, it's been around for 20 years, but no one really knows that much about it. It's called SpeedGrade. It's a very advanced color grading software, but we'll start here in Premiere. So right now I have a project open, and this is actually a project I'm working on this summer for a contest to win up to $70,000. So it's very exciting, and basically what the project is about the relationship between wood and humanity. So basically, I went out in the park and I shot a bunch of wood, B-roll. Some pretty stuff, but we'll learn how to color grade this stuff. So basically, when it comes to color grading, which is a crucial part in editing, after you get your assemble edit together and you get the clips that you want, the next thing is to make it look the way you want, which color grading impacts the way things look. So the first tool I will show you, which is a pretty cool tool and one of the best color grading tools in Premiere, it's called Fast Color Corrector, which is down here. If you just type in color in the effects panel, it'll come up. Drop it over on top of your footage that you want to color correct, and of course in the render in the timeline you'll see that all the footage is yellow, but once you add an effect to it and you start manipulating it, it becomes red, meaning that you added an effect to it and it needs to be rendered out before viewing it in real time. So basically what I'll show you here is under Fast Color Corrector, there are a few things. You can actually change the white balance, which is really good for white balance shots. So say if you come back and the whole thing's blue, the white balance was set to tungsten while you were shooting outside, or maybe you were shooting inside and the white balance was set to daylight instead of tungsten, which, if you don't know what I'm talking about, tungsten is basically indoor lighting. It's more orange to reddish is the color for white balance. And basically, tungsten is around the color temperature of around, I believe, 2800 to 3200 is tungsten. Daylight is around 5600, which is blue. And of course, the ugly fluorescent lights, green, is around 4000. So what we'll do here to set the white balance, see if it's even off. I'm not even sure. It looks pretty good. But basically, you take the eyedropper tool and you go out here and you pick whatever is white on the screen. So for instance, this over here is white, or I believe should be white. And say if it was off by any chance, it would change it to, or it changes the colors around it to that source that's supposed to be white. In this clip, that's not a good example of it, but that's how that would work. So basically, you have a color wheel here. So if you wanted very fancy editing, say for some odd, maybe this is like a music video or something, you want some crazy abstract colors, you can easily drag the center and make it really messed up. But be careful when using this, you can easily mess it up. But it's good to give like a little maybe cooler color, like some blue, or if you want to complement the green, maybe a little greenish. If you want warmer, you can go towards orange. But this is a way and a basic tool in Premiere that you can give your videos some feel to them, either warm or cool or whatever you desire. Another thing under the same effect, saturation, you can change the value of the saturation on videos and pictures. So basically, you can turn it up and it becomes more saturated, and you can turn it down and it becomes black and white. 100 is the normal value in between the two. So 100 is basically the raw camera footage. So under this, there's a black level, gray level, and white level. Black level is basically what is black on the screen. White level is what's white, and grays are basically the midtones of the image. So basically how this works, you could click on black and you can choose what's black in the image. So like right there, that may be black. So that'll make that black regardless, and then everything around it will adjust to that. White, what is white in the image? You can click over here and there's white. So basically that adjusts the input levels here. You can see the blacks are turned up a little bit. The whites didn't really impact because that white is white, really white. But say if you wanted the white level to be like this wood, then it changes that wood texture to white and it becomes really interesting looking. You can easily change the input levels to adjust however you want to make it look. The whites, dragging the white level make the whites more white, and the darks make the darks more dark. Basically, and you get to choose what is white and what is dark. So, very powerful tool here, and you can get some really awesome creative looks using this effect. Another tool I'll show you in Premiere that you may use, like any of these. I only dabbled in fast color corrector, but another one, I believe it's called RGB curves. How this works is you have all of the curves, the values of master, red, green, and blue. And if you want maybe a little, say if you wanted it a little redder or warmer, you can drag up the red and the image becomes more warmer. Let's undo that. If you wanted it a little more cooler, you could add blue. Maybe add a little blue, make it cooler, just like that. So that's another tool that may be helpful. You can give some contrast here. Basically the top is light and the bottom's dark. So the darker it is, the lighter it is. You can make it inverted almost, or nearly. But that's another tool you can play around with as well. Another way to color correct is through After Effects. And color correcting through After Effects isn't always the best way. Neither is doing it in Premiere. For instance, if you color correct in Premiere and then you say if you wanted this clip and you wanted to put it over to After Effects, it erases all of the effects that you put on this clip. So say if you had the fast color corrector on this clip, and say if you made it blue or purple or pink for any reason, but if you right click, and this is another thing to send it over to After Effects, if you hit replace with After Effects composition, it will open After Effects, and all the effects, all the color effects that you add in Premiere won't translate to After Effects, because basically what After Effects is doing, basically recreating a clip in Premiere as a linked comp in After Effects. And basically all the effects that you do in Premiere won't translate over to After Effects when you edit the comp. There it is. So when you bounce it out into After Effects, it will not carry. And you can see even, linked comps are pink labeled, and they do not translate color effects. Now through here, obviously you can click on the clip, do the same things that you do in Premiere under color correction. They have a bunch of stuff too here. Under After Effects, I will show you Color Finesse 3, which is in After Effects. Basically, if you add it to the clip and you hit full interface, it's basically a sub software in After Effects that you can correct in After Effects, and it'll give you the graphs here, and you can mess with it. This is the master highlights, so if you wanted to make the highlights more saturated, which is basically the whites or the lighter parts of the images, more vibrance maybe, the hue. So basically you can change the white to be purple, or you have a lot of the midtones, so the mid ranges, so if you want it to be more vibrant, you can turn that up. The shadows, say if you wanted it, the brightness down, so there's more contrast. So basically, Color Finesse is a program inside After Effects that supports it, and then it's added to the clip and the comp. And this goes for any After Effects project. You can add Color Finesse to any clip or picture inside any comp in After Effects. And then you can see it updates in Premiere Pro. Alright, the last thing I'm going to show you today is going to be the most complicated one. So basically, there is another program in the Adobe Creative Cloud called SpeedGrade. And what SpeedGrade is advanced color grading software. And what I'll show you here is how to bounce to SpeedGrade. So if you have Premiere open, go to File, direct link to Adobe SpeedGrade. And it will ask you to save the Premiere project first before you continue, and you click Yes. And then basically Premiere closes and goes back to the welcome screen. It doesn't close the program completely, it just kind of leaves it there. So if you ever want to go back to other projects and stuff and work on that, you can as well. But an important thing is you cannot have Premiere and SpeedGrade open on the same project. That is something I learned. It either has to be one or the other. And in SpeedGrade, what it's doing is loading the Premiere project. Basically, it's going to import the sequences that you created in that project and open them in SpeedGrade. And you will be able to edit and add color correction effects into each individual clips in SpeedGrade or to several. And we'll show you that once it loads. Alright, and here it is. SpeedGrade is now opened. So basically, as we look at this, it does look sophisticated. I had several people back in my class when I started first going into SpeedGrade, they'd like look at my computer and be like, "Wait, what program do you have open?" And I was like, "Yeah, it's this new thing called SpeedGrade." I was like, "You're like, oh, okay, never learned that." But here it is, ladies and gentlemen, SpeedGrade. Anyways, what it's displaying here, basically right here is the timeline that would be in Premiere. And what's nice about SpeedGrade is that all of these windows are adjustable. So you have your histograms and analysis tools over here. You have the program monitor basically over here. And you can easily change the dimensions of each screen just like in any other Adobe program to best fit your screen, whatever works for you. So let's get started here. So if we hit Alt and scroll in, we'll scroll in to the very first frame. Then we can scroll out and we can start seeing the clips. And we can scrub. It goes from one clip to another. Now what is nice about SpeedGrade, it translates the color corrections that you do in After Effects or Premiere inside SpeedGrade. It doesn't completely abandon it because SpeedGrade is directly linked between After Effects and Premiere Pro. Now, I know I learned this backwards way, but I would make your comps in After Effects or special effects in After Effects, or do whatever you're going to do in After Effects first, then color grade or SpeedGrade. I suggest doing your special effects first, then color grading after you do and make sure that you're done with your special effects, then color grade. But anyways, I'll show you here how to do SpeedGrade. So basically, down here, you have different options down here. Your primary is basically the whole image. And what you can do will shorten that. And this is basically your primary image. So you can control the overall look, which this is the input saturation, this is the light and dark offset, the gamma offset, and the gain offset. The shadows, midtones, and highlights are the same as the overall, but are only concentrated into the shadows, midtones, and highlights. So for instance, if you wanted the midtones to be more saturated, you'd click on the midtones and bring up the saturation. It goes pretty slowly, so I suggest holding down Shift and dragging to the right. And you can see a dynamic difference there. and that's how you would add more saturation to midtones. Say if you wanted the shadows more darker, you could click on the shadows, and then on this color wheel you can hold down Shift and drag to your left. Now make the shadows more darker, as you can see in the program monitor. Say if you wanted the highlights more lighter, to give it more contrast, you can Shift and click and drag up the highlights. And make sure you don't go too far, because it can get pretty extreme. But that is basically how you control each clip in SpeedGrade, so you get the look that you want. And what's nice about SpeedGrade, it works just like in Premiere and After Effects, where you can add different layers or different effects or multiple effects. So say you have the one primary, you can add another primary and work on a second look as well to that first one. You can also add different things. There's a whole list here of different effects. I haven't went through all of them because obviously I'm still new to SpeedGrade, but somehow doing this tutorial. But some things that I use, like sharpen, is a good color sharpener. Degrain, if it's in here, I think it is degrain, which I have no idea how to degrain in other software. But if you wanted to degrain something, there's your answer. It works to a point, like anything, but the ability to degrain something is pretty cool. But basically how this works, there's also eyes, so you can turn off a look, turn on a look. So this is back to nothing basically. Now you can turn the looks back on. To delete a look, you can just click on it and hit the trash can, and it'll delete one. And you can click this to save a look. And if you click that, it'll name it over here. There it is. And you can basically go to other clips and add that same look to that clip. And there you go. It's the same as before. Now obviously you probably wouldn't want that, but say if you did and you had shot to shot to shot, you could add it, save a look and add it to other things. Okay, so another thing I'm going to show you here is, say if you have two shots that are very separated. Alright, so say if you have two color differences here between two shots, what you can do is bring up two time sliders, basically. Put one there and then one here. And what SpeedGrade has, which is pretty cool, is that you can match them. Match look to master playhead. Basically, that'll make them the same color, which is pretty awesome to control the color tendencies from shot to shot. Because throughout filmmaking, and each shot may not be the same in luminance, or the lighting might not be the same. Luckily, this doesn't always work good. I'm warning you. You go on this and do this on your own. But I lucked out here. It's a good example there of how to match color tendencies. So that's a pretty powerful tool. But sometimes it doesn't work like you want it to work. So I think that's enough SpeedGrade for today. So what you do after you're done in SpeedGrade, if you want to go back and edit, which is very friendly, you hit the direct link to Adobe Premiere Pro button up here, and that links it right back to Premiere Pro. And then you would hit yes to save it, and it saves it, basically closes SpeedGrade there, and in Premiere it opens it back up, and you can see the clips that you added color correction to. So I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial. Keep watching on my website and on my YouTube channel for more. Until next time, have a good one.